Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus, SUV Talk. Just your first time on the channel? Welcome. On this channel, you'll find truck and SUV news, reviews, and interesting stories like this one. Hit subscribe, stick around. It's a good time. Trust me, it is. So for this video, I have my friend Brian Finn, who's in California, interviewed his friend and friends of friends, Dan Guile, who has a 2010 Ram 2500 with a Cummins diesel engine in it. And it's a really interesting interview where they talk about why they bought the diesel, dealership versus home maintenance on the truck, and issues he's had with it. And there's a lot of things to unpack. I've seen this interview a couple times now. I've been editing it. And each time I watch it, well, something new stands out to me. So I'm going to stop talking, let you guys watch the interview. When I get done with the interview and the video goes done, I'm going to come back on and I give you my talking head journalist point of view on things that stood out to me, and then we'll get your thoughts down below in the comments. So let me stop talking right about now.
Good afternoon, my name is Dan Guile. This is my 2010 Dodge Ram 2500 diesel with the Cummins engine. And the reason I got it was I used to have a Ford F-150 and it just wasn't able to tow our toy hauler with all of our goods in there. And then, so when that broke down, I switched to a 2005 Ford F-250 with the Power Stroke diesel, and I had so much trouble in that first year, put $4,000 into it. They thought it was this issue, that issue, nothing would fix it. Then I said, when I buy another vehicle, I want to start with a brand new one, so it's only from my use. And so I looked at what did Ford have to offer at that time back in 2010, and Chevy and Dodge, and I looked specifically at the recalls because I thought that might be a good gauge for like the health of the truck and the predictability for its reliability. And it was the Dodge Cummins right here that had, when I read it, had 23 recalls versus Chevy had something like 40, and Ford had in the hundreds. So I'm like, I picked this one, and it's been a really good choice. I liked it because of the size. It has a full-size bed. It's four-wheel drive. I knew I'd have reliability with the Cummins engine, and that it would tow whatever we would need to tow as our family, would expand into maybe a bigger trailer, more toys. And unfortunately, my boys found the game of soccer, and that took every single weekend. So now I've got this, big truck that could tow whatever you want, but we're busy playing soccer. So now we're driving the hybrid everywhere because of gas, and so that's why it has such low mileage. I think it has 77,000, and I've owned it since, I bought it brand new in 2010. And do my oil changes regularly, my maintenance. And the only issue that I had that was significant was the oil pan began to leak, and the truck was still under warranty, an extended warranty. And so I had that replaced. And then I've just done a couple mild things like that, a couple of exhaust sensors that were faulty that were covered by recall. So those were fixed. There was a steering column issue, and then one more exhaust emission. But other than that, it's been absolutely flawless, except for, just your regular maintenance with batteries and tires. But even greasing the four-wheel drive, U-Link is super easy. And I love the fact that I don't have to use DEF. So, it makes it really simple.
Now, in terms of maintenance, there's always a debate about the dealer doing the maintenance versus doing it yourself. Can you tell us real quick? Now, you originally brought it to the dealer, and then you started doing it yourself. Was it easy? Was it difficult?
Yeah.
Was it worth it to go to the dealer? Do you feel like it was? Because the dealer is more expensive. Many people say, oh, it's not any more expensive to have a diesel than it is a gas truck. That's just not true. But go ahead real quick. Just talk about, going to the dealer and maybe your experience with the dealer, not saying the dealer's name here in Bakersfield, California, but just maybe your experience with dealing with those maintenance issues, the recall issues, and we are in California and it's a heavy vehicle. Maybe talk about the premium you pay for having such a large vehicle.
Yeah. You go into the dealer, just the inconvenience of having to drop it off, get a ride, which, sometimes they have a shuttle, but it's easier to just have someone pick you up or drop you off. And it's been, since the vehicle's only had a very few recall issues, like to take it in for an oil change and a tire rotation, I can do that myself in the garage for, the amount of time, far less time than it would have taken me to drop the vehicle off. And then I feel like, it's a sense of pride. I know that I got the oil filter on right. I know that I put the washer in on the drain plug. And then the only other maintenance issue is keeping this U-joint in the four-wheel drive link lubed. And so I just bought this little needle, and every time I change the oil, I crawl underneath there and find that little spot and grease it up. And The issue though about having a vehicle in California is, you know, they charge a premium on a they call it a weight fee. So if the vehicle weighs over, I don't know, like 6,600 pounds or whatever it is, they charge you a premium on a weight fee. So just that weight fee is $245. So when you add all the other fees, it's a little shocking. Like when it comes to $460 to register a truck that sits on my concrete driveway 99% of its life it's a hard pill to swallow.
Right, and of course here in California we pay a premium for our diesel fuel. It tends to be more expensive here than regular. As of now, it's since COVID, it's probably a lot closer than it has been since, well, I remember. And so in retrospect, looking back on it, would you still buy this vehicle today? If there was a 2020 and you were looking, would you go back to a 2500 Ram?
Well,
all things considered, with
no,
DEF and emissions and everything else?
I love the fact that there's no DEF. I love that it has the diesel, you know, it's a inline six, and it's, you know, they read the reviews, it's like that's the motor that people want. I read about people that say that they've got an upwards of like 900,000 miles. Or I look online for trucks like mine and they got, you know, 350,000 miles, and they still look good, they still run strong. So, but doing it again, I wouldn't get a 2500 diesel just because our needs have changed. It's, you know, we're not hauling a huge toy hauler and you know, so it's pretty much a grocery getter, and it's I need something that's a little different now.
All right, Dan, well, we really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, there you go. There's the interview that my friend Brian Finn was able to take with his friend Dan Guile. And thank you both of them for sending me this footage and being on the channel and being fans of the channel. I found this interview to be really interesting on many different pieces. Let's start with a few of these here, and I'll start breaking things down. First of all, we have discussion on brand loyalty, and I thought it was really interesting. He was talking about how he bought the truck, really started from having problems with his Ford F-250. And what I'm seeing now in the marketplace is happening, and I think you guys have seen this as well, is that a younger generation of buyers, the 20 to 35-year-olds, aren't buying daddy's pickup, they're buying whatever they want. And then the older generation of buyers, say the 45 to 65-year-olds, are still buying a little bit of brand loyalty, but also they're changing their brand loyalty a little bit. You know, they've gotten screwed over by a certain brand at some point, and it's kind of broken that I'm a Ford guy or I'm a Chevy guy. And so it's really interesting happening in the marketplace right now. I think it's really beneficial to you, the consumer, this is happening, because I think it pushes all the automakers to build more competitive products and build trucks that are better for everybody. So I thought it was really interesting there. And it's fascinating to see that his change of the F-250 to Ram truck happened because of the problems. But also, another thing I've been talking about on this channel a lot is that he was trying to figure out reliability of the next truck he was going to buy. Now, I do a lot of videos on this that talk about 2019 models or 2020 models, and I get some crap about it from viewers saying, well, you can't tell me 2020 is going to be reliable. It's a brand new truck. Yeah, but you can look back. And he did this, which I thought was really fascinating, because the other day, I worked on a heavy-duty reliability story for 2020, and I did the same damn thing. I looked at recalls. Now, recalls are a funny thing. You can't base your truck buying decision based on recalls, because, like, I think it was 2 years ago, Ram recalled one truck. So if you base it on recalls, that counts as a recall against Ram, but it's only one truck, and I think the truck had a bolt need to be tightened down. And so recalls have gotten kind of stupid over the years. When Chevy had the ignition switch issue, they recalled everything. They just blew it out of the water. They had like 400 recalls in a month. I mean, it was just absurd. But they didn't want to be caught by NHTSA and having a big fine and all stuff going on. So recalls aren't always a great judge of future reliability. However, they are something to take in mind. And again, my story will go live today, and I'll put a video up tomorrow. When I do, I'll get that on this channel. But it's something to take in mind. I thought it was really interesting that back in 2010, when the internet was, well, still kind of new, YouTube wasn't really big out there, and he did the research on his own to try to determine his own thoughts on what would be reliable. Just like a lot of people are doing in this video and other videos are doing. They're trying to figure out, when you spend that money on a new truck, when you're buying that expensive new truck, will it be reliable? I think it's one of the biggest questions they have, even more so on how fast my truck will go up the hill towing something. Because as you heard in the video, he bought a big enough truck to handle all his needs. He wasn't worried about towing and how performance is going to be. He was more concerned about how many issues he's going to have. Putting $4 grand in a brand new truck because of problems, that's not good. Another thing that stood out to me was the extended warranty. If you watch that video a little bit closer, you'll hear him say that he replaced a couple sensors and they were under extended warranty, so he'd have a problem with that. Well, good for him because sensors can be stupid expensive, and it's just ridiculous how expensive these sensors have gotten. But there's always this argument that happens, and I hear it from people on the channel, why I don't do more conversations with extended warranty versus just the regular warranty from the manufacturer. And I don't, because to me it's a personal preference. And you can see it right here. He made the personal preference to buy the extended warranty. And I'm going to assume this, and I'm probably right. I assume that he bought it because of his problems with F-250. And so it worked out for him because he had some sensor issues. The other thing that stands out to me is has this truck really been that reliable? It's a fascinating conversation to have because he's had an oil pan leak, he's had sensor issues, but he has low miles on it. So you got to wonder what happens more miles on it. Does things start going weird a little bit? I remember I was talking to a manufacturer and they were interviewing people in a focus group about how reliable their truck had been. And one lady said that my truck has been the most reliable truck I've ever had. And they said, really? Wow, that's impressive. She goes, yeah, just 3 transmissions and it's still going right down the road. Well, 3 transmissions is a big deal for a truck. You got to wonder, does that really make the truck reliable? So I think it's interesting that we all have our different metric and different viewpoint on what makes a truck reliable. Now, a couple sensors and oil pan leak for 77,000 miles, you guys comment below. Is that reliable to you, or do you think that should never have happened? I don't know. I think it's a very interesting conversation to have, and everybody's got a different viewpoint on what makes reliable. The last point I want to put out is we have the DEF issue, which has been an ongoing issue. He doesn't use it because his truck is older. I think that's a really interesting argument, but there's a lot of discussions on DEF and pre-DEF and deleting and all this kind of stuff. But it's kind of interesting to hear his viewpoint on it. And the other, like I said, the other issue would be home maintenance. And as you saw in the video, you know, do you have the dealer do it? Do you have do it at your house? It's a very interesting conversation a lot of guys are having. As trucks get more and more complicated, can you still do home maintenance? And as engineers do stupid things like in that Ford Ranger where they put the oil filter behind the wheel well, it creates some problems as far as, you know, getting easy maintenance. So I thought it was a really interesting conversation there too. And really from a good owner who took care of his truck. He's made it last. He's used it for what he needed to, and just happened to be that his kids like soccer. And well, my kids like soccer too. So I completely understand where he's coming from. So there you go. I thought that was a really interesting interview. I hope you thought so as well. Put your comments down below. Check this other interview out over here, or video, or whatever. It's really cool over here. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.